By Munganess St. Louis Acura and Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota, and it's a program driven by the hatred of the listening audience. I was just briefed in our show prep meeting that the Fast Lane, an incredibly successful show made up of wonderful gentlemen, Anthony Stalter, Kerry Davis, Marshy Marsh and his playful posse, and Jackson's ally, Jamie Rivers, who before he was on the call of the Blues, Jim Dandy last night, Binner, chicken dinner, the hat trick, Jordan Kyrou doing work that they were none too pleased with some of what I have called, with the help of my PR firm, unfortunate comments made by one Jackson Bennett Burkett yesterday on this very show.
Yeah, I've yet to hear the audio. I'm curious, but I assume they're all going to be in support of me, having an opinion, sticking with it, and being honest with the listenership.
I'm anxious to hear it. Just to reset for those of you who didn't get a chance to hear yesterday's Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota balloon party, in what was the first moment where I was frozen by an opinion from Jackson. Jackson said that he would have preferred to be at this past weekend's NBA All-Star game in Indianapolis if given the choice between being at the NBA All-Star Game in 2024 in Indianapolis or Lake Placid for the United States victory over the Soviet Union in the 1980 Olympics. And I've never seen anger like I saw in our text inbox yesterday. And unfortunately, it sounds like it went to social media. Some people took to social media, including Sharon. Oh, here's Mike Ryder, ladies and gentlemen, with a screenshot. Sharon in Clayton. Jackson, do you follow her? She's at Bink 5 of 5. Am I right on that?
That's the username?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then she has, oh my God, she has dog avatar dogs in her, like emojis.
Oh.
It's outstanding.
Well,
I'm going to start following. Still can't believe 101 ESPN employs someone who would choose going to the NBA All-Star Game over this game. Here, let me hold it up on the YouTube camera for all of those in the YouTube chat. There it is, Jackson.
Sound off in the comments.
Yeah, sound off in the comments. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like for notifications when we come up with our takes. So Sharon and Clayton going after you.
Yeah, it's at Jackson_Burkett.
Is that where it is?
If you ever want to, address me.
Okay, so you and Sharon can have you'll have a dialogue.
I'm sure there's opinions that I can't believe that Sharon has. But again, that's the thing is in this country that everyone's saying that I hate, you're allowed freedom of opinion, and that is my opinion. So if you're going to deny me that, I would actually call you the anti-patriot.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, is that not what we're doing here? What are we doing?
Well, we don't kink shame. That's the only thing I know that we do in here.
Damn straight.
Let me hear what was said on the Fast Lane yesterday.
It is the 44th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice game. And there was some controversy.
Oh, what happened?
Earlier today, the balloon party. A specific person said they would rather watch the NBA All-Star game than go back and watch this incredible hockey game.
Had to be Jackson.
He was high. I was high when I said that.
I was high when I said that.
For sure.
You can be second, third.
Hell, you can be fourth. No explanation. I don't even want to give this oxygen. It's so asinine. I'd rather watch the NBA All-Star game than to go back and watch the 1980 Miracle on Ice game in Lake Placid with all that excitement. That is the ultimate troll job right there.
In Jackson's defense, I would hope
he has a defense.
You know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I would say
you wanted to attack.
Yes, because that last All-Star game was the worst thing I have ever seen on a basketball court. It was ridiculous. So I'm hoping that he's referring to when the NBA actually cared about
he
the
wasn't
NBA
alive for
All-Star
that.
game. He probably was. It was only 10 years ago. Been a while, but 15 years maybe. But that was a little bit crazy. You should knowing how
take
important
the best All-Star game ever in NBA history, and you're saying it's better to watch that than the most historic ice hockey game in U.S. history.
For Jackson, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, he doesn't necessarily dig the hockey thing, right?
He's not a huge hockey fan. He's a huge NBA guy.
He's a huge NBA guy. So if I had the chance, if I had a chance to go watch Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird compete in an All-Star, yeah, I'm sorry, I would take that. I would not watch what I watched on Sunday over that game, but if I had the chance to go watch Magic and Bird and Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan and Scotty, yeah, I
wouldn't be able to, because those guys would be at the hockey game.
That wasn't that funny. I mean, jeez, good crowd.
Jackson, your response.
First of all, shout out to Kerry Davis, because that's a man.
You're giving a shout out to Kerry Davis. I feel like there might be the end of the alliance with Jamie Rivers.
That's a man who understands.
It might be right here, right now at 10:08 on February 23rd, 2024. This time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers.
Yeah, shout out Kerry Davis. That's a man who understands what's going on. And secondly, I can't be over here saying, let me have my opinion, and then also criticize other people's opinions. If that's what they want to think, by all means. Jamie Rivers thinks
you will show tolerance in the face of intolerance.
Bingo. You said it better than I could have said it right there, Tim. That's why you're the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if they want to think it's asinine and dumb, okay, that's fine. But at least they know I'm being honest. And that, to me, is worth more than an opinion being championed. You know, it's about honesty. It's about telling the truth.
Sources close to the situation tell me that later on, after our program yesterday, you moseyed back to the 101 ESPN office where Jamie Rivers was sitting along with Kerry Davis and Anthony Stalter and Marshy Marsh and his playful posse.
Yeah.
And Jamie Rivers said, I don't even have time to address this comment.
Yeah. He didn't seem one too pleased with. I think people think like he's like, oh, it's the ultimate troll job. That I will push back on. This is 100%.
We don't do sketches. We don't do bits.
Not in the slightest.
This man truly feels this way.
Yeah. Now, there could be a situation, and I'm not amending my take. My take will remain the same. But let's say you take me back to 1980, and I don't know the outcome of the game, and everything is up in the air. Then I would be more interested in going to see that. But knowing the outcome, that just goes kind of for all sports. Like, when I know the outcome, it kind of takes away some of the thrill. Like, I know the USA wins.
So you were excited about the Western Conference winning on Sunday in Indianapolis.
And another thing, like, me going to the All-Star game is not about, like, the actual game on the floor. That's what I'm going to push back a little bit on what Kerry's saying. Like, it's not about, like, the actual – I want to go see the greatest players in the world play all in the same court. Like, that would be awesome to me. I get to see LeBron and Steph Curry playing the same night on top of Jokic and Luka and Giannis and Tate. Like, all these guys. Like, it would be so cool. Scotty Barnes. Hey, Scotty Barnes.
Hello. I'm trying to think if there is, and this is taking Jackson and the comments that have been met with unfortunate mockery from the fast lane, and then is it Bink 5 of 5 on the Twitter tweets, Sharon and Clayton, and in her condemnation, and it looks like she wants you removed.
Okay.
But if there is, and you may be able to provide one, a sporting event that has occurred, that I personally would rather be in attendance for more so than 1980 Lake Placid.
Something that you would rather
that I personally, and so you know my love for the Cardinals, for example. The Blues, and 2019 will always be just up there, but there have been plenty of Blues playoff games that I go to. I'm like, oh my God, I mean, like Game 7 against the Stars in 2019 is like, up there. And Monday Night Miracle, I'm sure some would cite. Game 6, 2011 World Series. Missouri, Kansas. I was at that in Arrowhead in 2007 to become number one in the country. And or like the Masters in 2019.
There.
You know, I really, and I'm not saying, I mean, I'm very comfortable being on an island. I kind of prefer the island, actually. Nobody can bother me on the island. But on this one, I'm like, I don't think there is any sporting event that I would rather be at than that. Yeah, honestly.
Wow. All right. Fair. Very fair.
But in me saying that, I don't really care what you think.
Right, of course.
I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you disagree with me. But I do agree with Sharon. I'd like to see him fire you. So
Okay.
I hope you can follow that.
Okay. That's tough. You know, when Sharon's calling for your head, I don't know how I'll sleep tonight. Regardless, that's interesting. I bet you're not alone. You're talking about the island. I bet you're not on an island with that. I bet a lot of people that would be like their number one. Yeah. Just not for me. Not for me personally.
So then people go, okay, then what would it be? And then they might go, okay, I get it. Game 6 of the 2011 World Series.
It'd be tough to beat that.
You know, take your pick of whatever other moment that, you know, if you wanted to be at Boston in Game 7, 2019, or, you know, get more specific, what we were talking about, Maroon's goal, Monday Night Miracle. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things along the way. Don't get me wrong. The Cardinals have had all kinds of moments. The Rams, if you could still have, you know, fondness in your heart for the Rams, even knowing what's happened here over the last decade. But the issue, I think, is not that you're not going to Lake Placid. The issue is that you're going to Indianapolis for the 2024 NBA All-Star Game. Not like the 1992 Magic Johnson All-Star Game. No, the one in which team scored, was it 212 points?
211.
211, I apologize. I thought they should have gotten another one.
Yeah, well, Damian Lillard. I forgot about Damian Lillard, my favorite player in the NBA, hitting half-court bombs, 2 of them, matter of fact. Yeah, I stand by my... there is... Like, you could put pretty much any NBA basketball game out there, All-Star game or otherwise, and I'd probably rather go see that than the 1980 Miracle on Ice. Like, that's me personally. That's me personally. It could be Magic versus Hornets. You know, Paolo Banchero. Great to see him. What up, LaMelo? Like, it's all the same. Like, I'd just rather go see that because I prefer to watch basketball over hockey. I know it's a crazy concept, but, you know, most of the country agrees with me.
I lasted 13 minutes. Time to turn the channel. Please replace this show. Thank you. That's
See ya.
from
Is that Sharon?
I don't know. It just says 314.
All right. It's been nice.
I get the sarcasm here, but I will launch a scorched earth campaign that would make Josh blush if one Action Jackson is removed from this glorious presentation. That's from the 636.
Yeah, stand with me. Appreciate that.
Look at that. You have your support now.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think that there's any concern of me being ousted, but you never know.
My top 5 moments. Nice, not asked for, but fun. Blues Game 7 versus Boston. Miracle on Ice, Game 6, 2011 World Series. 2008 Beijing, Michael Phelps, 8 golds. Blues Monday Night Miracle. That's from Chunk and the Chuck.
Michael Phelps one's kind of a curveball, but I like it. I like where your head's at.
And I didn't know if we were starting with number 5 or starting with number 1 there.
A race is very exhilarating, so I respect that.
Yeah, it wouldn't even have, I don't know if I would list my top 50, but that's probably just because I wouldn't think of it. You know, I would think more like the teams I care about.
Yeah.
And, you know, so then I'm going to be therefore limited to local teams. I don't have a team that I love that is not from the area. That's just the way that it works for me. I'm not saying others are wrong if they do. But a lot of it would be Cardinal-centric and Blues-centric and even Rams-centric. I was in the building when Prohl caught that ball, and that was euphoric. And I don't know which moment it would be from the Missouri, probably when Sod Reesing got sacked in 2007. When they beat Oklahoma, number 1 team in the country. I was at Faurot Field for that one.
Yeah. 1936 Olympics, Jesse Owens gets the gold in Nazi Germany. That would be heavy and really incredible.
2019 Masters. That's a nice play. That's a nice play if I'm going outside of the local.
08 U.S. Open.
08 U.S. Open's a nice play.
Get that extra Monday. You get that Monday afterwards, after the exhilaration on Sunday. That would be pretty sick.
He's a very strange dude, but he's entitled to his opinion. That's from the 636. And I got to tell you, I share that he's entitled to his opinion. Jackson might be the least strange person I know. It's amazing that on a show that I'm hosting, the other person is the strange one.
Yeah, maybe you think my opinions on sports could be strange. That's fair. But I think in my day-to-day life, I wouldn't necessarily call myself strange. We did that personality test thing for QFD, or at least you did it on vacation and I did it later. And one of the questions, like, do you think people view you as strange or different? And I said no. I said disagree.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I said disagree.
Now, answer the question for me.
I think
you're BSing.
No, hold on. If they didn't hear you on the radio, if they had never heard you on the radio, I don't think they would say you were strange. If they heard you on the radio, then yes, I would think that you think you're strange.
But that's accurate, and I have no problem with that.
Right.
You know what? But the strange part is the person off the radio is kind of more like you.
Right.
But then on the radio, I'm a raging, godless pervert.
Yes. Yeah, they use those exact words, actually.
That's actually, I think that's on the promo. All right, we got a break. It is Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton, Toyota. This is 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel. Welcome back. Tim McKernan with you till 11 o'clock. Jackson Burkett has been terminated. So it's just me. And my God, I don't know how to run the board. Jackson Bennett Burkett is still here. And Randy Carricker texted me during the commercial break, and this is going to put you to the test here.
All right.
He says, okay, 2024 NBA All-Star Game or Marcell Ozuna's ill-fated Spider-Man play in 2019. I'm taking Ozuna.
Oh, man.
So there.
To see one of my favorite Cardinal follies up close, when...
The best was the reaction of the opposing team in the bullpen.
Right. Well, what's funny about that is my former... And I should preface, we split the season tickets with many people. We got like 10 games a year.
Oh, you have season tickets?
But growing
Green
up...
seats, I assume? Yeah.
No longer, but growing up, my family had about 10 tickets a year in these exact seats. It was right above that first level on left field, so right under Big Mac land. Great seats. It always gets shade in the summer.
Oh, nice.
Perfect. But that would have been right above where Ozuna happened.
Oh, nice.
And that would have been incredible to see that. Because you could have seen the ball tracking and that's going to be right about the warning track. And then watch Marcell Ozuna climb the wall and then fall would have been pretty outstanding. And seeing that up close would be incredible.
Yeah, you don't really see a major league ball player, especially one who, parentheses, somehow won a gold glove, and parentheses, misjudge a ball that badly, to climb the wall, then proceed to fall off the wall, and then major league ball players just steps away in the bullpen start laughing at the whole thing. It was outstanding.
Yeah, usually the move, Tim, and you've played plenty of youth baseball in your life, is the kid who's not very good plays in right field.
Yeah, and wears denim.
Usually wears denim. And then the move is a fly ball comes out. You sprint forward. You realize you've misjudged it completely, and the ball is going 20 feet over your head, but you still leap in the air like you're going to catch it, like you're giving an effort. And that was the equivalent of Marcell Ozuna flying back to the wall and then falling on his face.
Let me take you back to the 2019 Cardinal Fantasy Camp, and I don't know if this game was on Bailey's or not, and if it was buffering when it was on or not. But Alan Bennis, who you may not remember.
Oh, I do.
Who was a ridiculously talented pitcher for the Cardinals, and had he not run into shoulder problems, that guy could have won a Cy Young. He was that good. To think that the Cardinals had Matt Morris, who did wind up having a great major league career, Rick Ankiel, and Alan Bennis, all super young, all at that time. And then really, minus Morris, none of them contributed to the pitching staff of a team that had an incredible run from 2000 through 2006 when they would have been key parts of the rotation. Right. I should note, I would tell you, without what happened with Ankiel and Bennis' shoulder, that team may have won multiple World Series, as crazy and hyperbolic and Mike Greenberg as it may sound. Now, with that said, he's my manager at the Cardinal Fantasy Camp. He's a wonderful gentleman, and we've known each other for years, going back to when I was doing television and down there, and I got to know him and his older brother, Andy. And unfortunately, this little fantasy camp experience for me, Jackson, was an opportunity for the guys who I used to cover, who are now playing for the Cardinals in the fantasy camp, to mock me and what they saw as a lack of my ability, which is stunning considering I played on the B team in high school before I couldn't make the throw from second base to first base. And we'll get into that on Monday. But, I mean, I hope this doesn't come off as a criticism of Alan Bennis' ability to manage in fantasy camp. But they stuck me in the outfield because I was probably the fastest person on the team, which isn't necessarily an illustration of my speed so much as the age of the roster. And there was a ball that was hit to center field, and I made the catch. Now, our manager, Alan Bennis, said, how'd it go in center field for you? I said, no problem. Made the catch, no problem. Looked like Jim Edmonds out there. And he goes, is that right? I said, where were you? And he goes, I was taking a piss. I go, oh, okay. Well, let's kind of lock in here if you can. We're out here trying to win a fantasy camp game.
For real.
The next half inning, I'm back out in center field. It might have been off the bat of Bernard Gilkey. It's a line drive. And I take a couple steps in. And within, I would say about 0.6 of a second, the ball is 40 feet over my head and sailing toward the wall. And I had two thoughts. Number one, why did I think I needed to take a step in? And number two, I want to run hard, but at the same time, I'm in Florida and I'm going to be playing golf for the next month and a half, and I really don't want to hurt myself.
Yeah, pop an Achilles.
And So maybe there wasn't the greatest effort.
Yeah.
You know, kind of an Ali Marmol, Tyler O'Neill situation pops up because after Bernard Gilkey, I think, runs around the bases 3 times by the time I get it to the cutoff man, my manager, who I was a little critical of for using the little Wizards room during the first half inning, yells, "Nice play out there, Jimmy Baseball!"
Oh, take it astray. Ricochet shot at old Jimmy Ball game.
Yep. Well, that's because I had said my defensive prowess in the inning he missed because he had used the Johnny on the spot was comparable to the Gold Glove center fielder and friend of this program was in here while you wore a football helmet a few weeks ago, Jim Edmonds.
Yep.
And then the first time he gets a chance to see a ball hit at me, I come in a few steps and the ball is traveling at 98 miles an hour about 30 feet over my head.
The sun was
and
in
I
your
decided to take a step in. No, I'll be honest with you. I was facing the east and it was probably 1 in the afternoon, so the sun was a non-factor. It was just a lack of athletic ability. And then really, then it became a lack of commitment.
Yeah, well, there's that. Did you wear eye black by chance?
No.
Would that have been frowned upon?
I truly went into the fantasy camp dead serious because my baseball career ended, number one, again, lack of talent, but also because, for whatever reason, I developed Chuck Knobloch disease.
Yeah, Steve Sachs.
Thank you. And I'm playing high school baseball, and all of a sudden, I cannot make the throw from second base to first base. And we're going back to the 1990s. Well, I hadn't appeared at second base since the 1990s. And so help me, I think it's like Ryan Franklin hitting ground balls for infield at the fantasy camp. And all I can think about is, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to field the ball. The issue is when I have that, I mean, that's a big throw of at least like 25 feet with no one running. And if they are running, it's like a 68-year-old chiropractor. So you have time.
Plenty.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm either going to gun this dead into the dirt or I'm going to throw it 70 feet higher than the guy at first base. And like the former Cardinals are going to gather around to watch the freak boy at second base who can't make the throw.
I guess in theory, you could have just fielded it and then sprinted over to the bag and done it your own damn self.
Yep.
Assist and put out. Did you have the same issue if they threw from short or third? Or is it just second?
Well, I wasn't talented enough to be on the left side of the infield.
Well, but maybe if you had that issue,
the issue
it's kind
was
of an awkward
if
throw.
I had the time, I would implode, and if I did make like a diving play, and
Bang,
obviously
bang.
then the throw was fine.
Right.
So it was an absolute mental meltdown.
Yeah,
that I really was worried about when I went back to fantasy camp. So then they put me in center field, and I'm not even thinking anything of it. I'm like, I actually was. I'm like, I don't want to risk my shoulder, so I'm not going to throw hard. Now they didn't know that.
Right.
But the issue was, I come in for the ball off the bat, Bernard Gilkey, and there it goes. And I remember seeing it like so far over my head like a missile, and I just remember thinking, what the hell was I doing taking a few steps in? And unfortunately, the manager of the club was not real supportive about it. I think Jason Isringhausen might have been on the other team. I think he wet himself giggling. It was just a real unfortunate situation. So I can relate to Marcell Ozuna in the game that Randy Carricker would choose to appear at, and that was the one in which he climbed the wall to watch the ball fall 10 feet in front of him.
And matter of fact, if I remember correctly, the number you wore was the same number as Marcell Ozuna.
I wore number 23.
Did Marcell Ozuna not wear 23?
I don't know. I know
think
David
he did.
Freese wore it.
Freese wore it, and I think Ozuna wore it as well. Matter of fact, I'm going to go all in on it.
Wow. I'm going to fold just because you represent that much strength, and I'm not sure, so it's not worth risking my stack. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Vladimir Burkett is now looking up the number for Marcell Ozuna. Don't be distracted by the green neon sleeve.
23.
23.
So there's...
Wow.
Yeah. How do you like that?
Serendipitous as the day is long.
How can you... What do you say? Yeah, old number 23.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson has prepared a Friday six-shooter for the ages, and I can't wait to see what he's got. That's going to start in the second half of Balloon Party here on 101 ESPN. I'm on some kind of streak in my email this week, McKernan at InsideSTL.com. Every day this week, I have received an email from a listener raving about their experience with this gentleman, James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. People are making the switch to my insurance agent, and I'm happy they are because they're saving money and going to experience the great customer service that I get from James and his staff at carltoninsurance.net. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Tim. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, man. It's a beautiful Friday. The weather's warm. It's February. Where would we have thought that's coming from? It's great. What's going on with you?
Well, I've been listening to talk radio for many years. I don't know if I've ever heard quite a take like Jackson had yesterday. That was something
come
else.
For him. If the sponsors are coming for you, your time is short.
And he's sticking with it. But no, we appreciate that feedback from your listeners. I mean, anybody can save somebody money. I get that. But they put anecdotes in there about the customer experience they're having, and that means the world to us because that's really what we double down on. I saw just the other day the fourth largest expenditure for households is now personal insurance. So any listeners out there driving or sitting in their office, go online, carltoninsurance.net. Within minutes, you can find out how much we can save you on your car, on your home, on your life. 314-961-4800 or carltoninsurance.net.
There he is. That's James Carlton, my insurance agent, online at carltoninsurance.net.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues win last evening against the New York Islanders. Final score of 4-0. The Blues will be back in action tomorrow. Early game tomorrow against the Detroit Red Wings. Pre-game will start at 10 a.m. right here on the home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. And the puck drops at 11 a.m. And last night in the NBA, the Mavericks defeat the Suns 123-113. Luka Doncic, 41 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back. This is Balloon Party. My name is Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. This is 101 ESPN, the 101 ESPN YouTube channel, active as the day is long. What a wonderful place it is. Tiny Peepee's in there. It's good to see because I didn't know what happened to him yesterday. Droid Effects, Eric Nickens, and Preston S1 all talking it over with Steve Paul. So that's a good group. That's a good leaderboard. That's a good leaderboard. Jackson, it's Friday, and that means it's time for the 6-shooter.
Indeed it is, Tim.
Jackson's buying time, if you can't tell.
The Blues win last night, 4-0.
Sounds like you were surprised to find that out just now.
Maybe at like 7 a.m. when I found out, but either way. With an impressive hat trick by Bruce Nevich and a quick trio of goals. However, interim coach Drew Bannister said in his postgame that he wasn't pleased with the team's performance following the quick start. Do you like how the coach, even in victory, has the things they need to improve on the front of his mind?
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I mean, I get where he's coming from. If you watched the game, and I realize I'm not talking to anybody in the studio now, but the Islanders the Islanders maybe should have won the game, which is a really weird thing to say in a 4-0 game. But that's how good Jordan Binnington was. And that's how lackluster the Blues were after that onslaught of offense in the second period. That was super fun. Now that I've taken my 2-year-old to the game just throughout the day now, he just randomly says, Blues game? Blues game?
That's awesome.
And I was driving him and my 6-year-old around yesterday afternoon, and he just starts going, Blues game? And I'm going, the hell's making him thinking about the Blues game? But I guess he's locked in on Patrick Waugh coming to town.
Yep.
Fresh off of course, goaltending for the Bruins in the 2019 Stanley Cup Final.
Yep.
And coaching the Islanders. And so he comes downstairs. It's about bedtime for him. And I go, hey, Blues game. And the next thing I know, they set a franchise record for 3 goals that quickly.
Yep.
Going back to, Jackson?
1991.
Pretty close. And, of course, who had 2 of those goals?
Jamie Rivers?
Bob Basson.
Okay, well, I've never heard of that human before in my life.
Oh, no. Sharon and Clayton's coming for you more.
Well, if you thought I was going to get that.
There was no way in hell.
Mind.
It was just setting you up to fail. That's what I do. That's what a good teammate does.
That's right. Also, real quickly, did you hear the wonderful audio from the referee last night?
I did, and I enjoyed it. Let's take another listen, though.
If he hits it with his stick above his head, you're not going to like it, but the call on the ice was correct. No goal. No, that's some good description there from Gary Ray.
I love that.
Couldn't have enjoyed that more.
You're not going to like it. That's outstanding.
Couldn't have enjoyed it. I did see some people in the crowd wearing Islanders jerseys. Man, I'm telling you, there are a lot of Leafs jerseys there on Monday. Yeah. I understand that. That's a little more historic, all due respect to Nystrom in the aisle in the early 1980s. But, for the Islanders fans they're like, hold on a second. We enjoy this quite a bit. But let me tell you something. That is, yes, I get where Bannister's coming from with they didn't necessarily have a real impressive performance overall if you're going to look at it through that lens. But you don't want to overstate it, and I as I'm looking at Stephen A. Smith over your head, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this, but I really do feel this way. If you lose that game, and then you're about to go out on this trip, 8-9 on the road. Next Saturday, they're back in St. Louis, but 8-9 on the road, and you would have lost 3 straight with the Nashville thing being really disappointing, the matinee against the Leafs, and then losing to the Islanders. That could have been, and also the way that it would have went down, considering that Binnington had to truly, some of the saves. My God. There aren't a lot of goaltenders who could have made a lot of those saves last night. And then you just get this rush. Furthermore, and this is something, Kevin Lorenz is the gentleman's name, and he worked on TMA for a number of years. And just like anybody who worked on TMA, they left the industry and did much better for themselves once they left. But he's a big hockey fan, and he made this observation. And Jackson, I don't know if this is anything that crossed your mind, but with Jake Guentzel out in Pittsburgh, Buchnevich is actually the top winger potentially available at the deadline, and all the buyers' eyes were on him last night. So for him to have the hat trick last night, keep an eye on that. And he goes on to say, and this was just me and him texting, he says, Armstrong's able to set such a high price because he doesn't need to deal him. But we've seen in the past that teams don't really bite on these high asking prices. Shattenkirk's a good analog, as he had been, quote, available for about a year and a half while the team was trying to win. Some rumored asking prices for Shattenkirk included Pasternak in Boston, and at least a first-round pick. It may have been 2 at the time. JR would know. He'll be with us on Monday. Taylor Hall from Edmonton. Shattenkirk wouldn't extend in Edmonton, and Hall won the MVP a year later in New Jersey after being dealt for a right-handed defenseman with term, Adam Larson. Ultimately, Armstrong waited until Shattenkirk was a rental, and he got Zach Sanford in a first, plus some other incidental pieces moving in the deal. The reason for that historical context is this. That should be instructive for how Buchnevich may be handled. The catalyst for earlier movement may be the Blues are less competitive than at any point during the Shattenkirk saga, and Buchnevich might be the best available option until Guentzel is healthy in a market where several teams really need him. So great that they won. And a bunch of the teams that the Blues are competing with for that 8th wild card spot, now that the Kings got a little space between them and the Blues in the 8th spot, although the Kings lost last night. But if you are looking at it through that lens, that's something to keep an eye on. And then how will Doug Armstrong handle it? And he uses the Shattenkirk situation as kind of a compare and contrast. And then also that Buchnevich may actually be the best guy available at the trade deadline, considering the situation in Pittsburgh. So, Jackson, I'm not going to ask for your thoughts on that. It's just a fun fact for no and tell. But I do want to note that you are wearing a St. Louis Blues T-shirt. For anybody who says you hate the St. Louis Blues, how could they possibly say that looking at that T-shirt if they're watching us on YouTube?
A cool-ass blue shirt, if I may add.
You like the red.
This is vintage. I will say my only comment to add.
Oh, my God.
Is that these 3 games, so Maple Leafs, Islanders, Red Wings on Saturday, is the best stretch of jerseys they will play all season. The Maple Leafs
down the Shattenkirk trade. And I was about to ask for resuscitation.
No. Shat deuces. What up? The Maple Leafs have the best uniforms in sports, in my opinion. Islanders really solid. I've really grown to love blue and orange as a combination, and I like the way that they incorporate.
How many franchises have it? The Oilers, Petrangelo.
Yeah, the Suns kind of have it. It's a little more purpley, but certainly a little bit. Virginia does it beautifully. I think Virginia does it really well. So I've grown to really like blue and orange. Syracuse does it really well.
The ELO era of the Cavaliers.
Yeah. Not my favorite. Better than what they're going with now. I'm not a big fan of the wine and gold. Either way, and then you get the Red Wings, which is like one of, if not, like, it's right up there with some of my favorite.
And that's been
jerseys.
compared, of course, to the Soviet Union's old uniform, so that would stand to reason. And we've come full circle.
No, it's the logo,
I want to get more of your thoughts, but we're up against a hard 10:45 break. We got news and traffics on the
That's right.
fives.
That's right.
So
I get it.
Your thoughts are welcome on Jackson's uniform take. Is this the best stretch of the Blues opponents' sweaters in the season?
It ends pretty harshly with the Jets. No bueno.
314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service text line. The YouTube chat is hot, and it's brought to you by the Air Alliance team. This is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. Welcome back. Final segment of Balloon Party for the week. Timothy, Michael, McKernan, Jackson, Bennett, Burkett. Welcome in, friends. And then BK and Ferrario take over from here. Jackson's in the midst of this six-shooter. And I'd be curious what you have. What else do you have? I don't know what else you have. We just talked about the Blues and a Jim Dandy last night before they take on Wingy Wingy. Pre-game 10 a.m. tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, boy, early start.
Yeah, how do you do?
I like that. As the Cardinal season is soon to get underway, I think we should get micro before we get macro. What are a few things in the early part of the season that will give you confidence in their ability to compete and contend, and what are some other things that will give you pause in their ability to compete? Thinking like first month.
Okay, no, I have no problem with that, Jackson. I mean, it really, honestly, it starts and stops with pitching. If I want to go specific, I would go, I think that even though Sonny Gray will get a lot of attention for the high ceiling he possesses coming off of finishing second in the Cy Young race in the American League, and obviously Gibson and Lynn, I'm intrigued to see what Michaelis does, because that's a guy who should have a higher ceiling than anybody outside of Gray.
Yeah,
and he was really bad last year for him, and in some starts he was really bad, period. Mm-hmm. And if that shows signs of returning, that is it. That's a big factor of where the team can go. And then if you want to think through the postseason lens, which, you know, is, hey, if you got Gray, great. But who pitches game 2 and 3, you know? So with that said, of course, who knows? They may do something at the deadline. But with all that established, I'd be keeping an eye on him in particular if you want to like micro it. Mm-hmm. And another one would be the order of the bullpen and how the additions of Kittredge and Middleton impact things, along with can Gallegos bounce back and what will Helsley be. So if you want me to isolate it, that's where my focus will be. I think a very valid answer would be what kind of at-bats you see Goldschmidt and Arenado taking. Was that a one-off, or was that the beginning of the age decline? And I think the answer may be yes for one and no for the other.
Yeah.
But that's also what I will be watching in the early going. So there you go. I don't take much out of it because guys can be working on stuff in the Grapefruit League. And I know you were talking about April. You weren't talking about you know, starting up this week. But that's where I am. By the way, I don't know how many people got a chance to read Jason Stark's column this morning in The Athletic, but they surveyed executives around baseball, and the title of the column is Which MLB Teams, Front Offices, and Managers Are Feeling the Most Pressure? Insiders weigh in. The team receiving the most votes, the Yankees, but only 4 votes behind were the Cardinals. And here is what the analysis is. Jason Stark and some quotes from executive. Quote, the good news for the Cardinals, our voters had mostly good things to say about an offseason in which they added Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson to their rotation and added depth to their bullpen with Andrew Kittredge and Kenyon Middleton. The bad news for the Cardinals, their entire rotation might be 33 or older, and we heard lots of concern about their manager, Ali Marmol, and his ability to navigate this vessel's storms. Quote, they'd be at the top of my list of teams most likely to make a change at manager, said a rival NL exec. I'd just say this, don't go to sleep on the job Yachty did managing Puerto Rico in the Caribbean Series. Let me say this, and let me say this crystal clearly to you, Jackson.
I'm going to turn your mic up a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. The entertainment factor of Yadier Molina becoming the Cardinal manager is infinite. I just, for the life of me, would have a tough time imagining this current Cardinal organization welcoming that into the dugout. And I say that not because of any other reason than for the first time since, I guess, 2011, you would have a manager who is not in a spot where he's going to go, okay, you know, I understand you guys are saying this. He ain't going to put up with that. Yep. And really, he becomes, I mean, I guess just by the letter of the law, he can't be more powerful than the chairman of the organization, but perhaps the second most powerful or third most powerful person who receives some kind of compensation from the St. Louis Cardinals Baseball Club, LLC. That's just not the way this organization has been for the last decade plus. So from an entertainment standpoint, holy crap. From a post-game standpoint after a bad loss, holy crap. From an umpire making a questionable call, holy crap. From him getting in an argument with a player, holy crap. It would just be incredible entertainment. So if you've been bored recently, there's your anecdote. So yeah, from an entertainment standpoint, that's what you got. Now, in order for it to happen, that means the Cardinals have to kind of fumble F around.
Sure.
But I just would be surprised if they did it at the same time. Man, would that inject enthusiasm into the fan base? And so maybe they would feel a need to do it. But my God, it would be opening up Pandora's box. Entertainment-wise, give it to me all day. Give it to me all day.
Yeah, it seems like if they were to make that move, especially this year, if the Cardinals have a shaky start to the season and do that, it would certainly seem like more of a way to get fans in the stands clapping their hands.
Fans in the stands, clapping their hands, hearing the crowd, come on, go, fight, win. I think I might have had problem with the lyrics right there at the end. I'll be real candid with the audience.
Yeah, but the pitch was amazing.
Yeah. I'm excited about my vocals.
Yeah. That's like a third act for you. Is like crooner.
It's like, oh man, he can do HD2 and sing.
Lounge singer.
Tim, I saw you at the hockey game on Monday. I respected your celebrity and that you just want to be a normal person, but I had to tell my kids that they were in the presence of greatness.
Yep.
Yeah, I think some people were excited to see Austin Matthews play, but more people are excited to see me. Does that come off wrong?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Great mustache on Austin Matthews. I got to give him praise. I tried saying mustachios.
I would rather watch the great Tim play golf over the Miracle on Ice game. Everything he does, play golf, I call it the Miracle on Grass. You're the best, Tim. That's from the 618. Are we giving away tickets or anything? Because I'd like to...
Miracle on Sod. I'm not going to chastise your opinion because I don't want you chastising mine. So,
look at that.
Yeah, whatever you like. I've played golf.
Are you going to appear on the fast lane this afternoon, defend yourself?
Those guys never give me a platform. All they do, what they do.
Are you saying they're scared of you?
No, well, I don't know about that. There's a lot of man in that room, but all they do is they besmirch and they talk down to me, and then they never give me a platform to speak my truth. I'm here. I'm right here.
Yeah, you are usually in the building in your little closet.
I was probably here yesterday when they were bad mouthing me. Call me in. Let me have a chance to rebuke.
Are you and Jamie Rivers now sideways? I mean, that alliance was quite a force.
Yeah, now he's my erstwhile alliance.
Usually when somebody says erstwhile, the word that follows is lover.
Yeah, I know. Tough. But still, the definition would work there. He's my erstwhile alliance. Now I'm with Kerry Davis.
Wow. You and Kerry Davis are now in an alliance.
And I feel like me and Marshy have a good relationship.
All right, fair enough.
We weather the storm.
You and Rivers parting ways.
It's tough.
It's going to divide this station.
It's tough.
Heads up.
Yeah, if you need someone to fill in between the benches, I don't know who he's going to call. I'm unavailable to him.
That's right. So Jackson cannot be in Detroit tomorrow. All right, time for us to shut it down. BK and Ferrari are up next for Jackson, Bennett, Burkett. I'm Timothy, Michael, McKernan. This has been Balloon Party, driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota on 101 ESPN and the 101 ESPN YouTube channel.